I think one of the big things we're looking at is turning Eastern into more than just, or Eastern and Ford Lake into more than just our college team, and really making it a venue, a destination for rowing, a training site that is good for any level. So hosting this is the second time we've hosted on Ford Lake, but this is, I guess, since we've had the race course, we worked with the township about getting the course up a couple days to get some training on buoy lines. So I really think going through that 25 days here, I think next year with some of the nice stuff we're having with on-campus housing and getting the new dorms done, I think that's where we're gonna put camp. We could look at even a better setup for housing for the athletes that are coming. But I think it's about expanding what Ford Lake is to rowing and what Ford Lake is, what IPSI is to rowing, and what Eastern is to rowing. And I think we did a really good job of setting it up and showing what our lake has to offer. I mean, we actually had some kind of the full gamut this year. We had hot temperatures, it was chilly some mornings. We actually had wind, which actually paid off a lot in the Netherlands because the course was very, very windy. So we got used to rowing in some more chop, and we're able to really use that to our advantage in the final. Really didn't do a whole lot to on the hosting. It was really just practice pulling the course up and putting it down a little bit, and then how to kind of where the balance is if we want to leave it in but submerged, and how to kind of set all that up if that's a path we want to take. I really think it was more just getting exposure to the area and to what we have to offer, as well as what we're building out in the next couple years to expand what we have to offer. Traveling to Asia and to Europe are completely different in kind of how everything was set up. Asia, because of the bigger language barrier, we had a lot of interpreters and kind of people taking us to places, whereas in Europe and in Amsterdam, it was kind of more expected to be able to work out the train system and the bus system and shuttle system. So there were some definite differences, and a little more getting your feet on the ground and being self-sufficient, I would say, in Amsterdam. But I think for the experience, I had a really good idea of how fast we needed to go to win based on what previous years had done. When we started the camp, I told them 6:20 wins this race. We went 6:21, and I think that's because the conditions went, yes, we had a tailwind, and that makes you faster, but I think it had gone over the level with the chop, so it actually slowed you down a little bit. So that was pretty right on, and I think it just allowed me to coach from a place of once we hit some time standards at Ford Lake, I was really confident in our ability to go 6:20 on this course and then extrapolate that into a win. So we had a couple good practice days when we first got there. Shorter because at that point we're on a taper, but had some good movement on the course. Then our first race was on 4th of July, and knowing that there was a heat repechage final setup. When we originally came in, it looked like the worst day for wind was going to be Friday. So we really wanted to make a statement in the heat, so that we didn't have to go out in the worst weather on Friday, get beat up, have to race. You only had to beat one crew, but we also didn't want to put that extra strain on. So, the heat went almost exactly like we planned it. We had a good first 1,000. We really established ourselves and kind of dominated the second 1,000, and had a really good last 400-meter sprint, to knowing that we were going to be racing on Saturday and not Friday. We wanted to go for the full 2K. And that allowed us to be a lot more relaxed, I think, because we knew we set up a pretty good time. We set the fast time out of the heat. We also knew that a couple boats just kind of planned for the repechage and were, just going out for a row. So it was a little unsure at that point. We thought the other heat was a little bit faster than ours, but we kind of felt pretty good on our racing. That allowed us on Friday to go out. We went out early in the morning and the midday, which was good because then they moved the schedule around. We wouldn't have had a second practice. We would have gone out later, but just went on a nice loop around the course once or twice just to stretch out. Otherwise, we're sitting twiddling our thumbs all day. We were supposed to race at 7 p.m. Netherlands time on Saturday, but due to the wind and all that, they moved everything up. So we ended up racing at 9:30. So we had to do a little bit of scrambling Friday night to make sure we had food because the hotel didn't start breakfast till after we were already gonna be gone. But we got food, everyone was good and fueled. We made some adjustments to the rig because it was gonna be so fast, just to to make it a little heavier because getting any bite in a 20-mile-an-hour wind is very difficult. So send them out on the warm-up. The nice part is it's the Netherlands. They've got 1 million bikes, so you could grab a bike and go watch the entire race back and forth. So I got to watch the warm-up, was sure that the rig was right, made sure we didn't need any clams or anything. Then as far as the race went, I mean, I couldn't have scripted us rowing it any better than how I want to race road. We had a good start, weren't first off the start, but we're right in that top 3. Canada went out to go try and shake everybody loose in the first 1,000, and we just stuck into them and made them like really have to push more than they were able to. In that first 1,000, Italy was obviously right there the entire time. When we got to the 1,000, I think Italy took a nice move going in, but we delayed our move to 1,100 meters. We wanted everyone to kind of take that first swing, and then we were going to take our big one. And at that 1,100, that's where we put our battle ball ahead. Italy gained maybe a seat in that first 100 out of 1,000, and we put our battle ball ahead, and we didn't give it up until then. The big concern we had all week was it looked like the Italians were really fast on the sprint, and so going into it, it was like, all right, well, we gotta really row this second 1,000, and particularly the third 500. But I kind of, watching the race, I had a really good feeling that we were going to win at 7:50 left when the Italians they lifted as part of their sprint sequence and didn't go anywhere, and we hadn't really lifted anything yet. And I was like, all right, it's going to be good. Got into that last 500, and they started picking it up, and they were just moving really clean and quick. And in the conditions, obviously, like there isn't clean and quick in that chop, but they looked pretty clean for what it was and just out-sprinted the Italians, who in multiple boats throughout the day had been just sprinting through people. So I think we were able to really trust the training, trust our ability, and just push when we need to push. Well, I mean, it's obviously great to see any of your athletes win internationally. Like that's an incredible feeling. The entire team got really close. It was a small group, so everyone could be really tight. They were all living in dorms together, so I think it gave us a really good connection. Yes, it was absolutely wonderful, like to see Lily get that experience and like get the feeling of like a big win that we haven't had collegiately at Eastern yet. But it was all 9 of them. Like I can't speak that anything but great things about all 9 of them, and it was connected to all 9 of them, and it was just good to see a group of people from vastly different colleges, D3, D1, Power 5, Group of 5. Really, our coxswain was the club coxswain from University of Michigan for the men's team. Like she was spectacular, and it's just nice to get everybody together and like really do something as a single group and like have that unity that's tough to get even when you're together for 4 years. I mean, I think it speaks to like our coaching staff and our development plan that athletes who are driven and want to see something big happen in their career can absolutely find that here. And Lily's a great example. Lily she wasn't the fastest person in the boat. She wasn't the slowest person in the boat. She's right in the middle. She's still got another year of eligibility for both collegiate racing and if she wanted to do World Universities again. But to kind of have that process over 3 years to make a international boat and to win an international medal is incredibly hard, but is absolutely a path that like I think we've done a really good job developing, and I think will be something we can continue to develop for our future athletes. It's hard to put into words. Like they raced so maturely for such a group that, there's people who are sophomores or rising sophomores in that boat, and then people who have rowed for rowed in high school and in college and have been rowing for 8 and 9 years and been on national teams. So, but they rowed so maturely in a place where, like, for a lot of them, it was their first international competition, and they just went out and rowed. And, like, one of the things we really focused on was, like, you're gonna have, Team USA on your shirt. You're gonna have USA blades. You're gonna be a US 8. But once we push off the dock, we're just the 8 of us rowing at home in Ford Lake. That we don't have to be anything besides who exactly we are to go win this, and to not let the moment affect you negatively. Let the moment affect you positively, and we're just racing the guys straight forward home. That's all it is. And I think they really did a nice job of just keeping the moment minimal, but also keeping the moment, then once it was over, letting the moment really shine for what it was.